podcast. We are back with episode 5. And Fallon, how you doing over there?
You know what I'm about to say. What's my catchphrase? You already know.
I
Life
already know life is life,
is life.
but you know what? Life is life, but we didn't survive graduation season. We've
Ooh,
survived Memorial Day, and before you know it, it's about to be summertime. Summertime.
child.
You
I
excited?
feel like I feel like I barely survived graduation season. Fortunately, we chilled out for Memorial Day weekend. It's always like a long holiday that I don't necessarily look forward to, but I was all on some change the narratives type stuff this year, so we chilled out. But baby,
Right.
graduation season almost wore me out.
Not wore you out. What happened?
It was just a lot. Like I can think back to like just the high that you feel when you graduate, just like the damn I'm grown, but just dealing with these new age children's and
Mm,
their antics. It was just a lot. I don't even want to get into it no more, but it was a lot. Baby
I
cousin, if you
know.
listening, I'm calling you out because your graduation stressed me out.
Not to call out, honey, but I mean, for me, I was so excited as a child for summertime. On one hand, I was excited. On one hand, I wasn't excited. So I was excited because you didn't have to go to sleep early. You didn't have to wake up early and go to school. But then I was kind of annoyed because I have a summer birthday. So I never was a child that got to celebrate their birthday with the class. Like it was always just cousins for me because, like, I mean, I really didn't go to a neighborhood school. So that was the one thing that just annoyed me because I'm like, man, I wish my friends from school could come over and they couldn't. And now as an adult, it's like, man, like tonight, I told y'all, it takes a lot for us to record these podcasts. Tonight we feeling tired and everything. And I was just thinking like, as an adult, what if we had like a summer break? Wouldn't that be cool?
Baby, I'm probably the only person in America that hated the summer. I ain't gonna
Ugh.
lie, I still be talking big noise in summertime. I don't like the weather. I don't like the heat. Houston is hot as all get out. But I was that kid that was literally sitting up with a countdown. I was a nerd. I had a countdown from the last day of school, and I would immediately reset the clock for like that back to school countdown. Everybody would hate my guts because I would like call my friends like, "Hey, 55 more days, guys." Like that was me.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I was so annoying, like completely
Yeah.
so annoying. I yeah, like Xing out days. I hated it. Like I hated not having something to do. Like I wanted structure. I still feel like I had myself on like a set schedule where I was like reading. We'll go to the library. I would check out like
Hmm.
50 books, read them in a week, take them back. Like I literally needed structure. But now as an adult, baby, I don't want no more structure. I really do agree with you. I need like just a grown summer, a summer skip day, a summer skip month, a hiatus, something.
So do y'all have those? Because I know here they'll do like a like a adult skip day or whatever. Like it'll be in the summertime, and then you basically just call out of work. I mean, of course, it's kind of like pre-planned because you know what day it's gonna be, but you just call
Mhm.
out of work. Everybody goes to the beach, and you just have a good time. Now that's one aspect of it, but I think I want like a true summer off. And I have a good friend of mine. She actually was speaking about how she wanted her summer off. And
Mhm.
she said she had a date in her mind because her job wasn't going well. But she said her finances were in order. She had a date in her mind. And once that date arrived, she put in her notice. And like now, she just living her life like it's golden because she doesn't have a job. She said she is going to pick up like on little small jobs, like, sometimes there are conferences here in DC. Like she may
Yeah.
be the person that works the front desk to make sure that people get checked in, but she's basically not doing anything that she doesn't want to do. I don't know if it's gonna last from like May into August, but she says she'll figure out when she figure it out.
Yeah, but that sounds just grown
And I
as
love
hell,
that for her.
right? That just sounds like some
I
ultimate grown
know it
ass awesomeness.
does.
Because for one, you have to have your money together to do that. Like I wouldn't
You
even be
got
comfortable
to.
not having my coins in order and just like chilling. Like I ain't that type of person. I am one of those gotta have a job, gotta have something lined up, gotta know my next move type people. I try not to be super rigid with stuff like that. And I low key feel like I probably would still be checking and trying to do something productive during that time. But that's some grown ass shit to be able to like literally say, you know what, I'm tired. I want to separate from this job. I got the money, I got the time. Let me invest in myself. So that's dope. Big ups to your friend.
Yeah, I love the fact that she like chose herself. Like she was like, the thing about it, Kristen, is she was like, we don't have any kids. She was like, so if you don't have any kids and you got your money in order, you can do that if you really wanted to. She's like, you can kind of do that, rebrand yourself, figure it out, and come back in the fall with like more clarity. And I'm like, you are so right. But the thing about it is, I know when I was speaking with her, like before both of us kind of accepted new jobs around the same time. So one of the things that we were speaking about is what we wanted in our new position. So I think the first thing, like when you're making these big decisions or you decide that you're going to take the summer off, like are you being honest with yourself? Like what you're doing right now, is it like totally meeting your needs or fulfilling you? Because if it's not, then you've already gone against what you wanted for yourself, right?
Girl, I don't think I'm grown enough for that.
You don't
I
think
don't
you're
think
grown
I'm
enough
grown.
for that?
No, I don't think I'm grown enough for a lot of things at this big age, 41, pushing 42. Like, I don't know. Some days I'll be feeling like grown, but then other days it's like, damn. I'll look and I'll be like, damn, I got a whole husband. I'm a grown ass woman. Like it's weird. Like I question my grownness sometimes. I don't know if you do that, but I literally am like, dang, I'm grown. This is grown, and I don't know what I thought grown meant or what it like encompassed. But I do have moments where it just slaps me in the face that it's like, bitch, you grown. Like you want some grown people shit. Like, I don't know.
I mean, when it comes to that job aspect, just because I've been laid off so many times and have had to reinvent myself, I think that with discipline and staying out of Marshalls, TJ Maxx, and Ross, I could definitely do it. I could definitely do it. And also, I feel like a lot of me has like this hustler's mentality about, oh, you need to pick up a really quick job. Like I know some avenues where I can
Yeah.
get some pretty quick jobs that make decent money, like at least $30 an hour or whatever, and just have that as, some stable income. So I think I could do it in that aspect. But in terms of do I feel grown? No. Like girl, no. I'm a procrastinator and I'm always thinking like, man, if I had kids, I would really need to be on top of things. Like I procrastinated to the point where it's time for me to renew my tags, right? So it's time for me to renew my tags, but my car is actually I have the tags in a different state than what I live in, right? So I'm just thinking I can just go on the last day, pay for everything, and then they send things out to me. I can just print off a little paper to say, hey, she's paid for her stuff. Girl, why I got on there today and they talking about you got to go into the physical office. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go tomorrow. I click on the link and it's like the first appointment is like, let's just say 27 days away.
We know how you do it with your
Oh gosh.
documentation and your government
Okay.
stuff. If y'all listen to the last episode, you already know how she ride dirty with these credentials.
I ride dirty, but my thing is that something that grown people do? Not really. I'm like, girl, why are you pushing it to the limit?
See, and that's where I'm conflicted because out here you will see a lot of renegades with old tags. There's people rolling around with 2019, 2020s, 2021s. Like I know it was a whole pandemic, but these are grown ass people. So I don't know if I would say maybe charge them to the game. Like I don't know the government
But
and
see, Texas is huge. Houston is huge. Like I feel like in this little circle, like you can't be downtown parking because they're gonna get me. I can't really be in like neighboring states and cities like Virginia parking because they're gonna get me. Like
the feds
I'm
are
really
y'all. The feds are always watching, so I wouldn't roll the dice. But I'm not gonna say that irresponsibility. I won't even use that word, but I'm gonna use it. Irresponsibility would negate your grownness because, like I said, I it's grown people now that don't even have their own birth certificates in their possession. Like, at what point do your family relinquish your documentation to you? Like, that's another thing that is like, okay, I got my whole social card, I got all this stuff. Like, does that make you grown when you get it? Like, I feel like my mama handed me the little packet with all my stuff in it when I left for college, but I damn sure didn't feel grown then. And just having to remember all these numbers, and now I got his numbers to remember mine. Like, I'm like,
oh
okay,
Lord.
this on some grown stuff again. Like, this is
Wait a
me,
minute. So you're supposed to remember your husband numbers? Like
baby.
social?
Yes,
You
it's
have
so
to know that?
yeah, like
Why?
literally, because when you get married, you basically pledging to the Lord and the government that you gonna hold this person down. So that means if this nigga sick, I gotta be able to authorize him getting help. If he can't speak for himself, I gotta defend him. I can't let him be sick and on the street. I be the one to jail if he's sick and I don't take care of him. Like literally, you'll get charged with neglect. Like yeah, you got to know your person's bank stuff. You got to know your person's bills. Like if there's something happened to him and I don't even know who he banked with, like what I'm gonna
So here's the thing, I'm not grown yet.
do.
hey, hey, that ain't even no stuff I want to remember. Like I already feel like I got too much stuff to remember. So I don't want to add no more stuff to my list of things that I need to remember.
I can
So
tell
I'm
you
not
this.
grown yet.
My friend Jessica always asks me, she like, well, what type of grown wife stuff you did today? What's on your wife list? And one thing I'm always like, well, making sure this boy drinks some water. That's like a big thing. That was the only thing I could name that was like, well, what's on your wifely duties? I'm like, make sure he healthy. Keep, did you drink some water? That's my big thing. I know water keep you feeling good, and people don't drink enough water. So I'm like, hey, did you drink some water? Here, drink some water. Drink some water. Like,
Exactly. I
I
just
don't know.
never really put it into like that aspect, like the marriage aspect about like just being grown, grown. Like I think about, guys that I date and things of that nature, like telling them to slow down. But I'm sure that if I was like their wife or something, that would probably be on like a level 10, like, babe, you doing too much. Like, I'm gonna need you to go to the doctor. I'm gonna need you to be on your vitamins. I'm gonna need you to enroll in a yoga class or something. You know what I mean? Like something to like make sure that you are okay.
You literally have to take all that stuff into account. Like, you got to take care of your stuff, but you also got to take care of your other person, especially if you're trying to have 40, 50 years with the Negro. Like, you got to make sure they vitamins good. You got to make sure, like, I feel like I could literally probably go up in there and be like, baby, what color was your pee? Like, these are things that you got to really, this is like grown shit that I'm over here doing. Like, that it seems so weird. Like, okay, you are with somebody, you're in a relationship, and like their well being is damn near like, you gotta take care of your child, you gotta take care of you gotta take care of your family. Like all of those things are a lot. So I will say that on the marriage side, you do gotta be grown because that's a lot of responsibility for both of y'all.
Girl, that is a lot. Like, I mean, just recently I realized, girl, you got to be grown because a tree fell in my yard and I had to deal with it. Like, it fell in my yard to the point where I couldn't even walk down my stairs to get to my car. I had to jump off the side of like my little porch area to walk the dog and to get down to get to my car. And I'm like, okay, we got to do something.
But see, I feel like it's a lot that just goes into home ownership as a whole. So you being a homeowner is automatically up in your grown level by like 10 notches just off GP because that is a lot of responsibility. Like you can't be immature or young minded and actually own something and like cultivate your home and care for it and keep it up. Like that's some grown people stuff to me.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? It's so funny because I always say, and I've probably said it before, like owning a home by myself is definitely not something that was on my list of things I wanted to check off. Like, I definitely wish I had a partner for this because, like, leaks around the house, just basic stuff. Like, I don't even own a water hose.
How you water your flowers?
My flowers are indoor flowers, but
Oh,
I'm country. So when my dad come visit me, he like, oh, Kristen, I'll wash your car. Where your water hose at? He don't say water hose. He said, where your hose at? I mean, my
where your
hose be all
hose?
around the world, but but my water hose, I don't have one, Dad. Like, sorry,
Well,
I
you need
don't
to go
have.
to Home Depot and get you one. Go to
I
Home Depot and get you one
mean,
just to have. Because I mean, I feel like it's more stuff to it than just your plant. To be able to like douse some water down and something catch on fire outside. I don't know. I'm in Texas. Maybe that's a Houston thing. The shit be catching on fire. People be burning trash and whatnot. Like, it get hot. So you need some water. Like I looked at my plant outside, I'm like, these girls look like they are dehydrated. You need a hose. Your husband gonna need to wash your car. You need a hose. Like all of
well,
these
she ain't
things
got
live
no
together.
husband yet, but I do
You
need a
gotta
hose.
you gotta prepare for which one though.
I do
You
need
got
a
to
hose.
Just start preparing for these things. Like put that in your grown woman bag. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's and
Ah,
get you a hose. You got
I'm gonna go to
hose, but
Home
you need
Depot,
hose.
pick me up a hose, and be looking for the hose. Is that good? No.
I mean, if my husband's looking for people, places to meet somebody, we'll have to ask him if Home Depot or Lowe's is one of those. We'll ask him that offline. But I would say maybe it'll be men there. Oh, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get you some hoes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
hoes. But no, it's a lot. It really is a lot, especially when, looking at how old we are. Like I said, a big age of 41. You're about to be 41. And I just comparing it to like what 40 used to look like or what 41 looks like now.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like just being accountable for waking up every day and going to work and paying your bills. I think that's pushing us at real trending grown level.
Yeah, I think so. I really think so. And we didn't hit
And
another little decade, so we definitely grown. So,
I know.
mm,
But I guess since we're talking about paying bills, you know what time it is. We'll pay the church's money and we'll come on back and continue talking about this grown woman ish.
Are you ready to take your streaming broadcast, website, or social media visuals up a notch? Pyro Media Productions is here with the perfect solution. From dynamics, design, and professional headshot shoots to family photo ops, they've got all you need for stunning content creation. Check out pyromediaproductions.com today and add that creative flair. Pyro Media Productions, setting brands ablaze since 2017.
Now, I know if the people have been listening, they heard us have kind of like a little conversation about childishness and having childlike personalities and all these things. Because you said that on the episode, you said, "Oh, I have a childlike personality."
hmm.
Do you think that maybe we should change the narrative on that?
I don't because for me, I feel like I'm not uptight. I feel like, I can still go with the flow. And I feel like me saying I have a childlike personality and maybe not childlike, maybe youthful, maybe it's the wording, but not necessarily the narrative.
Yeah, because I feel like when you said it, I said something about being childish, and we too damn grown and getting it together. Like I think whimsical, maybe, or like optimistic
I
would
mean, I
be
like
better.
youthful too, though. I don't have an issue with youthful.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do feel like losing your optimism is a part of being grown.
That's not good.
I know it's not,
Oh
but
gosh.
I feel like like being able to face reality or like being realistic, like that is kind of the opposite of you know not being childish, right? Or am I reaching?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. It could be. It
See,
definitely could.
and that's why I feel like you lose a little optimism. Maybe that's something we need to reframe because that sounds bad when I say it, but I feel like just the ability to recognize when good stuff happens and bad stuff
Hmm.
happens. Like I feel like that is on some grown people stuff, and maybe that's a different. Maybe I'm saying it more harder than it really is. Like you get what I'm saying though, right? Like what I'm trying to
No, I
say.
get what you're saying. I do. I definitely get what you're saying.
Well, use your psychology degree and make it sound better because it sounds crazy in my mind when I'm saying it. But like,
My psychology degree is not working tonight.
oh
I'm on summer break. I'm
God, you would want to. Nah, see, you can't
taking
do
a
that.
sabbatical.
You can't take a sabbatical in the midst of working, ma'am. I mean, you could, but you can't right now.
I'm
But
taking
what
a.
I'm trying to say is, I feel like when I became grown, I
Mhm.
learned that the glass is not always no, that the glass can be half empty and half full at the same time. I don't know how to say that and make it not sound crazy, but I feel like when I was a child, I maybe viewed the world with like rose colored glasses, and I don't
Right.
necessarily do that now. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm saying I'm jaded. I don't know. Because everything I'm saying sounds bad, but I feel like that's some reality. But it's not necessarily bad. I'm just saying it bad.
So maybe that could be like a little bit of a difference because me having a youthful personality, I really do try to see the good and stuff before actually looking at it through like a jaded type of lens or something.
Well, maybe that's my job that has me that way.
I was gonna say that. I think it could also be career based. And it's so funny that you're saying this because I just had a conversation with my manager about just saying, like, because I need a mentor. I know we talked about that before. And I was just like, yeah, I really need a mentor. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And my first thing was like, I don't aspire to work. I don't. And she's like, okay, I get that you don't aspire to work, but, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I said, and that's the thing because I don't aspire to work. Like, I have not fully connected, and I feel like this is very youthful, maybe even childish. I'm like, I feel like I haven't connected with a career per se. Like, I have jobs, and my friend and I was speaking about this. I was like, I don't think I have a career. She's like, girl, you do have a career. I'm like,
You have a
no,
career
because I'm
that
not
you've been
passionate
in.
about it. Like,
I'm gonna say you have a career that you've been in for like over a decade, like an industry. Like I see now. I hope ain't none of your coworkers listening because now you're sounding crazy.
I know I
Um,
might be sounding a little crazy.
no, I feel like you are in a career, but I don't know. See, maybe that's being grown because you're working to provide for yourself. You're working because you have to right now. You're in a position where being grown and responsible means that you have to work on something. I don't know if
Right.
your lack of passion negates you being an adult about it. I mean, I
Right.
think that's
Or
speculative.
quitting the job too, because she was like, well, I'm like, I'm not saying these things to you to say I'm about to quit because that's definitely not it. Like, I still got to pay this mortgage and everything else. It's just saying, like, going forward, I want to find something that I feel a little bit more connected to, if that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that knowing that that's your truth and accepting it, owning your stuff, that's a part of being grown.
Yeah, it's a part of being grown. I was just telling her that, like, I'm still very much so committed to doing, like, I guess, like passion projects outside of work until I just figure out what this work thing is supposed to be like. But I don't know, the child in me, like I can't just be like, oh, I have this job and I'm gonna stay here for like 20 years until it ends. Like that's just not me. Like,
Yeah. I feel like the generations before us were kind of like programmed to get a good job and just stay there for 40, 50 years and retire.
right.
I think we probably have a little bit more liberty and a little bit more ability to make like lateral moves or just like flip the script immediately. But I think that just knowing that you have to do something until you are doing what you really want to do, that's just as important as having a dream about doing something and just bullshitting until you start doing it. Like to me, it sounds crazy to be passionate about something but not have a plan. Or it sounds crazy to me to just walk around just hoping that shit gonna fall in your lap. And no shade to anybody that's doing that. Maybe their grandma prayers was different than mine and like life come at them a little differently. But I just don't feel like that is a grown way to handle things. Like unless you like your friend who had money saved up and all these things, like I don't know too many people who are in a position to just like straight up jump into some passion project without being under a bridge. Like
Yeah.
it just seems kind of, it just seems very far fetched. And I don't know, maybe that's my lack of optimism and my grownness and not being able to see the forest for the trees or whatever people used to say. But I don't know that like that doesn't sound right to me.
I feel like being grown, us talking about being grown is depressing me. So let's talk about let's talk about some of the things that made you excited about being grown. Like, you know how you was young, you like, I can't wait till I get grown so I can do this. What
See,
excites you about being an adult?
and you just showcased your childlike
Right, because
because
I'm being
that
depressed over
conversation
here.
shouldn't be depressed.
Right.
Like, getting older should not make you be depressed. I actually told somebody this today. Well, I can't remember if it was today. Part of being grown is you remember getting mad. But anyways, like I had read somewhere that, Tina Turner, R.I.P., didn't have her first big comeback album until she turned 42. And
Oh.
yeah, something in my mind was like, well, hey, I'm gonna be 42 this year. Like maybe this could be my Tina Turner year, and like have my big break and all these things. Like stuff like that is what motivates me to just really fall into the ground. Is like knowing that you can start over whenever, or knowing that you can continuously reinvent yourself. Like just because you may not be working in your career that you're super passionate about, you could be taking some side classes or getting another license or doing something on the side while you're struggling or getting it out the mud to make the money to sustain yourself. And then poof, walk into your Tina Turner season. Like that, her comeback was at 42 years old. And I don't know, I'm just claiming it as my comeback Tina Turner year when I turned 42.
You know what? I think you made a really, really good point on that. I mean, that was a really good way of looking at it too, because I mean, you can just walk into whatever you're supposed to be having. So, yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna change the narrative. I'm gonna try to think of that and not be getting depressed on it, because grown is not supposed to make you depressed. But anyways, your question, what was I excited about the most about being grown? And when I think about it, it was some childish shit. My most thing about being grown, I was like, dang, I can go out to the club every night if I want to, or
Right.
I can give my number to anybody I want to. I could go anywhere I want to. I don't have to be in the house by a certain time. Like that was grown to me. Like you can't pay me to go outside of my house after 10 o'clock. Now I don't even want to go nowhere. If it start after 9, don't invite me. Like if I'm not already out, I'm not going. Like I don't want to have to leave my house now. So I guess in retrospect, what I thought was being grown was only a temporary thing, because now to me, I'm excited about being grown, that I could tell people no, I'm not coming, or no, I'm chilling with my husband, no, me and the dog over here on the couch chilling. Like that now is something that's grown for me, that I can say no and it be a complete sentence with a period or exclamation point behind it, depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I guess that's one way. And I think that is the childish part because I'm like, oh, I can do this or I can go here or I got grown people money, you know what I mean? But also that comes with grown people bills. But yeah.
What were you most excited about?
Um, I don't know. I guess like just really not having to answer to anyone. Like I remember like going to college and just being like, I can do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And even like coming back home, just like, oh my gosh, when I'm in college, I can do what I want to do. But now when I come back home, I got these rules. So I think the grownness started with me going away to college, like just being excited to be like a young adult and
Yeah.
not having to answer to anyone per se.
Well, the gag is now, the person that you have to answer to is yourself. And I
That's
feel
true.
like we hard on ourselves than anything mamas and daddies was ever telling us. I feel like that self uh answering to is the ultimate of being grown.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're
Oh,
right.
yeah, no, but see that. Well, I guess now too, answering to yourself and your spouse also would be. It would be both of those. Like those would be hand in hand.
I can see that. I can see that. And I also guess the other thing is like you I know you say answer to your spouse. The other thing is you really don't I mean you do, but you kind of don't really have no fallback plan. So you really gotta make this thing work now. You really gotta make this adult get
Uh,
work because
what is the
like
fallback plan?
Bruh, I don't have one. I don't know what it is.
But see, we do. You have a family, so I mean, you can always go home. You always can go back for your roots. Like me, if all else fails, I feel like I gotta get out of jail free card playing in my back pocket.
Okay.
Like, okay, let me start on my own. Let me start hustling up this. Let me make a workshop. Let me do
No,
something.
I get
Like
you
I feel
right.
like we do have
Okay, you might be right. And actually, you know what? I guess you better than me if you don't have no plan B because you right. I do have a plan B. I mean, even buying this house and the size of this house, not that it's the biggest house on the block, but in my mind it was like because I had been laid off so many times, let me get a house with additional space in case. I mean, I'm not sure where everyone is from that's listening, but in the DMV area, like people rent out rooms all the time or rent out their basements, and I'm lucky to have a basement. I've done it once, but if that were to happen to me again and I needed some extra income, I definitely would do it again.
yeah.
So yeah, you better than me if you haven't thought about a fallback plan when it comes to this adulting thing. Because what would you say? Life be lifing.
Somebody better make some t-shirts for me. Actually, let me make my own
Right.
t-shirt before somebody else does that. Let me be grown and gone and copyright that, trademark that phrase, and make myself some my own t-shirts. But I'll say this: I feel like you better than me if at this big grown age you were still blaming other people from whoever, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your auntie, and them for where you are in life. That's my big one. I may have said this before. I don't know. I feel like deja vu or something, but I feel like that is it. Like to me, just being accountable, being responsible, being obedient to what you feel like or your rules and regulations of yourself. Like that right there. You better than me if you haven't figured out by now that you are the one that's the captain of your own ship and that you drive and you still be blaming nobody else for what you got going on or what you don't got going on.
I agree. I definitely agree with you. And you know what? I feel like that is probably another topic for another episode.
Girl,
What you
I
think?
feel like I feel like yeah, it is. I feel like no, I don't know. That's a real thing. That's one of those sit with yourself for a moment. So I feel like I'm in one of those spots where you have left me with a
But you
sit
know
with my
what? Not even sit with yourself because it goes into it still ties into our conversation today about being grown because one of the biggest things about being grown is accountability. And
yeah.
so if you're still playing the blame game, like have you actually, made yourself accountable, for the way that you're feeling? Because I do know people that are still holding on to things, maybe they couldn't play this sport in high school or in middle school and they think that, I would have been in the league had my parents let me do this or just different things like that. If my parent didn't pull me out of this high school and allowed me to finish at this high school, I would have been able to go to this school. So I know a lot of people that haven't just like settled, I would say, 20-year-old debts with themselves. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, no, I know people like that too. Um, that's a hard one. That's a rough one also to kind of combat. But no, people at this point, if you are not just able to look yourself in the mirror and see where you went wrong, like I'm not saying that people parents didn't make no mistakes. Maybe some people did have some barriers that other people didn't have. But at this big old age, like if you haven't figured out how to move past it or move forward or work your way through it, like no, I'll say step your grown game up, enroll in some therapy or some counseling or talk to somebody because that right there is probably slapping you in the face and holding you back and you don't even know it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't even know it because it's definitely holding a lot of people back that I know. I'm like, if you would just close this one door, you would probably have been in so many different rooms by now.
Yeah,
But you just
that's
keep
real.
floating around in this one room because you can't close the door.
True. Grown. I feel like we have made this grownness sound real real hard and scary. And
Don't grow up. No, I'm just joking.
I
I
know I don't want to grow up. I'm a total.
don't want to grow up. Right.
I don't know. How can we leave the people feeling good about their grownness before we even, head on out? Because I don't want to leave the people feeling like this. Their backs probably already hurt. Their knees, they already done lived through the Tootsie Roll and the backing it up and all that. They tired. Like, how can we make them feel better?
I mean, I think the only way to feel better is that, life is and can be difficult. But the thing about it is, with each day that you're alive, it's a day that you're alive. And again, it's a day for you to, you can set your day and set the tone and make it a good day. You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah.
really you can forget about what has happened in the past with your family, and you can really just honestly live the life that you deserve if you put your mind and all of your resources into that. And I know we haven't really spoken on the power of manifestation, but one of the first things I always say to myself, and even for this whole, I don't aspire to work or passion projects, you have to really see it in your mind first. You see it in
Yeah.
your mind first, you write it down on a piece of paper, shit starts to get real, and before you know it, you're like walking into it. And I think that is the beauty of life and the beauty of living, because
Mm.
life changes so quickly. And I could be talking to y'all about this right now, and then y'all look up and you see me on the TED Talk. You be like, God dang, she was just over here on Power Media Network.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the beauty of it, as opposed to like looking at some of these negative aspects that, I've even mentioned. Like, the beauty of it is it can change in an instant, and it
Yeah.
could be so much better than what it is right now.
Now that's a word, child. I think for me, just the beauty of seeing where I came from and knowing that there's still places for me to go and things for me to experience, knowing that the seasons are still changing regardless of what the calendar says or how many gray hairs sprout from my head. Like, I still have breath in my body. I still have the ability to keep on living on my husband for several more decades, to keep on growing and keep building and doing it with confidence, because being grown, that confidence was probably one of my favorite things, and it's just gonna keep getting bigger and better. Like, shit, at 40 you couldn't tell me nothing. At 50 you damn sure ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. So I think just leaning into it gracefully, accepting where you're going, looking back on where you've been and knowing that it's only up for here from here. That's probably the grownest thing that I could say at this big age, if we trying to give a little positive spin on the growth.
And that's a whole word.
Period.
So, guys, thank you so much for rocking with us today, speaking about being grown, and navigating through that. We definitely appreciate you guys, and we know and hope that you will tune in again next week for another episode.
And I'm gonna take my grown ass to bed because I'm tired.
Same. All right, guys, and
Bye.
bye.
You Better Than Me is a podcast on Pyro Media Network, produced by Pyro Media Productions. Pyro Media Network and Pyro Media Productions are subsidiaries of Pyro Media Enterprises. For more information, please visit www.pyromedianetwork.com. Thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next.